Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. This morning, we've been talking about placing armed guards in schools.
Now, following the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, more schools have begun to consider the presence of armed guards. School officials and parents, though, debating how to balance safety and ensuring that children are comfortable learning in the classroom.
We want to know what you think. Should schools have armed guards?
Make sure you vote online through our app and, of course, take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. Plus, this morning, it's full steam ahead for the Creative Learning Alliance in Joplin as they receive $20,000 to purchase their first manufactured exhibit for their STEAM Center.
All right, but first, our top stories right now at 7. Coming up, an early Monday morning crash in Nevada takes the lives of 3 people, including the driver and 1 teenage passenger.
Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear right now, and it's going to stay that way. We're going to talk about the long-range forecast and the potential for rain coming up.
And a museum in Fulton, Missouri has a new exhibit on display, artifacts from Queen Elizabeth II.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It is a beautiful morning. Take a look at that sunrise back there. A little bit on the hazy side, a little bit on the cloudy side, but we got some good colors. It's looking really good.
I like it. Yesterday about this time, it was like really pink right under the letters there. So.
Yeah, it actually, I wish we would have had the opportunity to actually like point it out, but when our KOAM Morning News logo was on there yesterday, what Tanya's talking about is the color fit in perfect.
It was
right in the sunrise shape of that O.
It was a postcard. It was like postcard perfect.
Yeah,
yes.
It was. It just
not
happened to be.
Not that it's bad today.
No, not at all. It's just yesterday, man. It was right on the money.
Yeah.
And our forecast right on the money for warm temperatures, unfortunately. So right now on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, you can see nothing in our area. In fact, a huge dry slot across the Midwest right now. 7th range line, which we were just looking at, looking pretty good as we start the day. Temperatures also looking pretty good as we start the day. 58 degrees with some clear skies in the city of Joplin, with a light south breeze. Across the area, we're mostly in the 50s. In fact, Anderson, Jay have warmed up a bit. They're joining the rest of us, and now we've got 60 in the O show, 58 Carthage, 55 Lamar as we start the day. That puts us, again, about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we were yesterday. So, you know what that means. We're looking at afternoon highs that are going to warm up. We're looking at an afternoon high today of 89 degrees, 78 at noon, 85 at 5, 75 by 8, mostly clear skies. Mostly clear skies hold on through the night. We'll gradually drop back through the 60s, 68 at 11, 65 by 2, with an overnight low of 60 degrees. The future track is in hyperactive mode as we skip it ahead as far as it can possibly go right now, which is into next Friday morning. This weekend, we stay warm, we stay dry. The start of next week, we stay warm, we stay dry. I mean, check it out, 2 a.m. Monday, 75. We're talking that's 15 degrees warmer than where we are right now. And then we head into Wednesday. So Tuesday, the beginnings of a storm system out to our northwest. And then by Wednesday night and into Thursday, check this out. A beautiful sight, a good chance of showers and thunderstorms holding on from Thursday into Friday across the area. Some much needed rain. We're going to talk about the 7-day forecast as well. Take a look at the 10-day too here in just a few minutes.
All right, and if you can hear her in the background, we've got Layla in studio this morning.
We
coming
do.
Up here in a little bit.
There she is. She's very excited to be here, and we're very excited to have her. And you're going to have an interview coming up.
I just didn't want people to think that you were the one panting over there.
Well, this forecast, I mean, this rain, very exciting.
Well, the heat itself would make
it. Yeah, it's going to really warm up, and that's what we'll talk about in the 7-day too, is it's really going to warm up before we get this rain, but this rain is something we desperately need, and so far, computer models seem pretty on track with this, and hopefully that doesn't change over the next several days. I mean, we're still talking, this is more than a week out, but it's looking pretty good.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Chris. On Monday morning, a school bus overturned on a rural Missouri road in Clay County. It was carrying 30 students to an elementary school at the time. 2 of the children and the driver were taken to a hospital. Their injuries are believed to be minor. Authorities are investigating what caused the crash. No other vehicles appear to have been involved. Well, 5 people are dead, including 3 teenagers in 2 separate crashes. One crash happened just after midnight Monday morning on Highway 54. 5 miles west of Nevada. Authorities say a pickup driven by 19-year-old Tyler Green of Nevada failed to stop for a stop sign, turning onto the highway, and was hit by a semi. Green was taken to the hospital where he later died. 2 of his passengers, 24-year-old Allison Bittiger of Nevada and a 17-year-old from Bronaugh, Missouri, were also killed. Another 19-year-old passenger from Nevada was seriously injured. The other driver was not hurt. The Carl Junction School District announces in a Facebook post that a high school student was one of 2 people killed in a Saturday crash on Highway 43 south of Liberal, Missouri. 17-year-old Kyron Addington was in a car involved in a head-on collision. Investigators say the driver of the other car, driven by 30-year-old Shelby Stennett, was also killed when the Stennett car crossed the center line. 2 other teens were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. America's Churchill Museum in Fulton, Missouri has a new exhibit featuring some artifacts from Queen Elizabeth II, and they include a picture of her coronation signed by the Queen and a prayer book signed by her mother. A letter from King Charles III is also part of the exhibit. The museum was founded to commemorate Winston Churchill, who gave his Iron Curtain speech in Fulton. Churchill and the Queen became close after she assumed the throne in 1952 when Churchill was serving his 2nd term as Prime Minister. The museum has been preparing the Queen Elizabeth's exhibit for some time. Well, the old Vernon County Jail in Nevada, Missouri is up for sale. In the early 1900s, it was a post office, and then in the 1950s, it became the Vernon County Jail and was used as a jail until 2009. The building is eligible to be on the National Register of Historic Places.
But as far as the building itself, you know, as we go through it, check it out, you'll see it needs a lot of work, but also as you walk through it, you'll find out that the structure itself is super solid and got a lot of potential. One thing, it's you know, centrally located here in Nevada. It's got great parking. Nevada's
Current asking price is $45,000. On this date, back in 1916, children's author Roald Dahl is born.
Now, Dahl wrote his first book, The Gremlins, for Walt Disney in 1943, and the story was later made into a Disney film.
I love that movie.
He wrote several popular adult books, including Someone Like You in 1953 and Kiss Kiss in 1959, and began writing stories for his own 4 children in 1960.
You remember James and the Giant Peach? It was written in 1961, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's a classic. 1964. They were both bestsellers. He also wrote the screenplay for Charlie with a title change. The movie was called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And one of my favorites, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in 1968.
And a James Bond film, You Only Live Twice, in 1967. Dahl died in 1990 at the age of 74. Quick look at the 7-day. Shows where we stay hot, we stay dry for the next several days, temperatures in the 90s, and then it's the 10-day. We start to heat up next week, 95 by Wednesday, and then we're watching those storm chances Wednesday night into Thursday and Friday, something we need.
All right, well, up next, Kelsey Keeney from the Sck Humane Society is stopping by the studio. Oh, there she is, Layla, special guest, and we'll have information about an adoption event that's going on at the Pittsburgh Art Walk.
And later, the Quapaw Wildcats look to get wild against Galena, but this one turned out to be a nail biter. Did the Wildcats have what it takes? We've got the answer. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome back. We've got Kelsey Keeney in studio this morning from the Sck Humane Society, and today she has brought in Layla. Thank you for coming again this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Turned out to be a pretty nice morning so far. So tell me a little bit about Layla.
Yeah, so Layla is a 2-year-old female blue heeler mix. She's a very friendly, sweet girl. She knows a couple of commands. She knows how to sit. I learned earlier she knows high five as well.
And she knows her name.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I was over at the desk earlier and I said, Layla! And she turned my way. Come here, Layla. I don't have treats though, so why would you want to turn to me? Kelsey has those. Yeah, but I'll pet you. So 2 years old?
Yes, 2 years old. She's a very friendly girl. She's looking for a forever home. She does great with other dogs, but she will be available in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. How active is she? Does she enjoy going on like walks or runs?
Yes, she has a lot of energy, so she needs someone who can kind of keep up with her.
Yeah. And you said does well with other dogs, but what about other animals if you have cats or something in your home?
She's a little iffy on cats. We haven't really cat tested her yet. As far as our lobby cats go, she did kind of fine with them.
Okay. Didn't hunt them down or anything like that?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Okay, and you guys have some other dogs available. Well, you have a lot of other dogs, but we have
Yes.
pictures of a few, and here is one, Diesel.
Yeah, so that's Diesel. He is a great boy. He is like her. He has a lot of energy. He does great with certain other dogs. He's a little picky, so we'll have to do a meet and greet first if you're interested and have another one. But he is no cats.
That's interesting, a Husky Lab mix.
Yeah, he definitely, you can definitely see it in his personality. He has a lot of that energy.
I like the ears just sticking up like that. And then we have Lula. I feel like we've seen Lula before. That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think we talked about her last time, but she looks like our old girl Betty, and she kind of acts like her too. She has a lot of energy for a 6-year-old black lab mix. She is great with a couple of their dogs. She is just no cats as well.
Okay. Now, how full are you guys on dogs right now? Are you at capacity?
We are at capacity.
You're at capacity.
Yeah.
And I think the last time you came on, we talked about the puppies, the beagles.
Yes.
Have you had any luck getting them adopted yet, or?
Yeah, so we're still waiting for them to kind of wean off mom. We had just weaned them this past week just because she was getting a little tired of them growing on her. So we're just waiting for them to be old enough to get their last rounds of vaccinations and then to get spayed as well.
Okay, so they'll be available for adoption very soon. You could probably go out there and see them anytime. And look at Layla, she's just behaving lovely right now, just enjoying the scenery, I guess. See, you can see yourself on camera. Okay, so you guys have a big adoption event and booth coming up next Friday as in connection with the Pittsburgh Art Walk.
Yeah, so we will be set up by Block 22 across from Brick and Mortar. We'll have a couple dogs on site. We haven't picked who we're bringing yet. It's supposed to be about 2 or 3 dogs, but we're going to wait until that week to choose who we're bringing just in case they get adopted this weekend with our another event going on. But yeah, anybody is more than welcome to come out and check them out, to take them for a walk during the event, see how they do with your family, and they will also be available for adoption or foster to adopt.
A great opportunity to walk a dog during the Pittsburgh Art Walk. All right, and what time will you guys be set up there?
Yeah, so we will be there at 5, and I believe it will be either 5 to 9 or 5 to dusk.
Okay, sounds good. All right, in the meantime, they can find you at the Sck Humane Society. What are your hours and how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so this Friday with our event going on, we'll be open noon to 4, and then Saturday noon to 4 as well, and Sunday 1 to 4.
And to learn more about this weekend's adoption event, you can go to our website at koamnewsnow.com and click on our morning show interviews, and we have all those details in this link to this story right here. All right, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
We'll be right back.
Well, the votes are in for the performance of the week, and it goes to the Quapaw Wildcats. They improved to 2-0 on Friday night following a big road victory over Galena 29-22. This game was a battle all the way through. Tied at 22 with a little over a minute remaining in the game, the Wildcats drove down the field, and quarterback Jack Derringer connected with Deacon Schaap for the game-winning touchdown. The defense improved vastly from their last time out when they gave up 40 points to Salina. On Friday, Quapaw held Galena to 8 points through 2 quarters and hung tough in the second half to help secure the win.
The whole second half, our defense stepped up. Our defense made them stop, made it tough on them. We were physical the whole game. We were kind of going a little faster pace, got them tired, or we felt that we got them tired. They seemed to be it. So we felt that our conditioning was going to be a big part of it this week, and it's what we had been working on.
Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City offense made a statement in Week 1, dominating the Arizona Cardinals in Glendale 44-21. Mahomes threw 5 touchdown passes, and the Chiefs converted all 6 of their red zone opportunities into touchdowns. Defensively, Kansas City held Arizona to 3 of 12 on 3rd down. Nick Bolton led the team with 10 tackles, and apart from one play, the defense was able to limit Kyler Murray's run game.
when they spring that one, it's a backbreaker, and it did lead to points for them. So, our goal was to not have that happen at all. But I was excited about the fact that we did, collapse the pocket, kept them caged on a number of occasions, and I think there was a few balls there he threw away, which was a good win for us. But I think the next guy we're getting ready to play is a really good athlete. I mean, just because he's 6'4", 6'5", or whatever he is, we don't take away the fact that this guy is athletic, and if he wants to pull it down and run, he's pretty good at that too.
All right, let's take a look at this day in weather history, and we're going back to 1993 when Denver experienced a record 5-inch early season snow. Now get this though, the day before this snow fell, been 90 degrees. Talk about extreme weather changes. Nothing quite extreme in our area right now. We've got temperatures that are going to start rising. We're going to stay hot and dry through most of the week, and then we're watching some storm chances next week. Right now, Skywatch Storm Tracker doesn't show anything locally, but there is rain out there. We just have this massive dry slot across the Midwest right now. 7th range line, dry. Sun is rising, looking pretty good. Temperatures right now, okay, that was crazy. So we go to the current temperatures, and there's a brief pause in the live image, and there was a bird, and then it mysteriously vanished. Twilight Zone stuff going on here. 58 degrees in Joplin right now, mostly 50s across the area. 52 Parsons, Pittsburgh, 55 Lamar, and 58 in Carthage as we start the day. Still about 5-10 degrees warmer about from where we were 24 hours ago, which means we're going to have a warmer day ahead of us. Mostly clear skies, afternoon high of 89 as we head into tonight. Mostly clear skies with an overnight low of 60 degrees. We put the future track into hyperactive hyper mode, and you can see as it skips into next week, we stay high and dry until we hit Wednesday night when we see a storm system bring us a good shot of showers and thunderstorms through Thursday and into Friday, and temperatures warm up between now and then too. Quick look at the 7-day. We've got 90s as we head through the rest of this week, hot and dry, and we get to be really warm by Wednesday, 95 next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but next Wednesday, and then that storm system comes in, brings us some good rain chances. We're back right after this.
It's time to honor today's 4th state hero, Sergeant First Class James Allen. The native of Pittsburgh, Kansas, served from 1967 to 1974. And from 1990 to 1993 as part of the 891st Engineers. This decorated veteran earned a number of awards, including the Army Commendation, the Army Achievement Medals, and the Recruiter Badge. He was also named Kansas Recruiter of the Year. To Sergeant First Class James Allen, we thank you, today's 4th state hero. Now to Health Watch this morning, a drop in spay and neuter surgeries is putting pressure on animal shelters, and kids who've had concussions may feel the impact at school. Naomi Ruckham has some of the day's top health stories.
A concussion can impact performance in the classroom. A new study in the journal Injury Prevention found that adolescents with a concussion in the last 12 months were 25% more likely to be in poor academic standing at school. The study analyzed more than 10,000 American high schoolers, and nearly 15% reported at least one concussion in the last year. Far fewer pets were neutered during the pandemic, and experts say it's now leading to overflowing animal shelters. Researchers at the University of Florida estimate nearly 3 million dogs and cats are missing spay and neuter surgeries, in part due to a nationwide shortage of veterinarians. Study authors add that staffing shortages at clinics and shelters, along with fewer pet adoptions, are also leading to overcrowding. And eating your meals during the day instead of at night could help improve mental health. A study from Brigham and Women's Hospital found that nighttime eating increased depression by as much as 26% and anxiety by as much as 16%. Researchers say the data is especially important for shift workers who often work odd hours and may experience a 25 to 40% higher risk of mental health concerns. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Let's look at some of today's top medical news. We'll be right back after this. Right now at 7:29, a bus overturns on a rural road in Clay County, Missouri.
We've got a pretty nice start to the day across the area, but temperatures are on the rise. We'll break it all down coming up.
And the Creative Alliance of Joplin can now look forward to putting together a new exhibit, all thanks to Liberty Utilities.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's currently 7:29 in our 7:30 half hour.
Yeah, we're starting. We're in the home stretch now. 30 more minutes remaining, and then it's done until noon. It'll be a nice little break. Poor Tanya has no idea what I'm ever going to throw at her, and I was talking about this with Gabe earlier during the last sports update. Who decided swear words are swear words? Who determined that they are bad words?
I don't know.
Like, where did that
sounds like something your child asked you.
No, it's a question a 35-year-old man has. How did we ever figure that out? Like, because, I mean, you know, the FCC has rules. You and I can't swear.
Your parents. Somebody had to start
somebody's parents somewhere along the way decided that certain choice words are inappropriate.
It was just this is my theory. I don't know the answer. But my theory is they were first used with ill intention. They were slang versions of a normal word, or like a word that just was used in a mean way, and therefore it became a curse word that way. It's because of how it was used.
It's interesting. It's a curiosity of mine because, you know, again, like the FCC has rules on what you can and can't say and when and where and how. Mm-hmm. Your schools, your workplace, you know, there's certain words and phrases that are unacceptable. Now, derogatory terms are one thing. I'm just talking about swear words, the words that are a replacement for a common word that we would use. And because you and I, if we were to say some of them, depending on what they are, we could get
in trouble.
We get in serious trouble, and if we say certain ones, you may not see us ever again on television. But that just has always been a curiosity of mine, is how did we come to this point of what is and is not acceptable speech?
Mm-hmm. Because we could just make up a word and use it with ill intention and it would be okay because it hasn't been turned into a swear word yet.
Well, see, it's like Star Trek got around some swear words by writing them in Klingon. Like they figured out, they're like, okay, well, we can say this because it's not a real word. Well, now Klingon is an officially recognized language. So there's one particular word that I know what it means in Klingon that I can't say because somebody out there might know. Back when Michael Hayslip was still here, we had a morning talker and somebody wrote a comment and he didn't understand it, and I looked at it and I told him, I said, that's Klingon. Somebody commented on one of our morning talkers in Klingon. So I'm just saying, it's interesting how the world has evolved. And you know what else is interesting that's evolving?
The forecast.
Temperatures.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a warm one today. Right now, we're not too bad, though. I sadly don't know enough Klingon to get by, but I can call you a hotebok. That's animal. Says I'm calling you an animal.
Okay, I was going to say them be fighting words.
Tim's yelling in my ear now. He's sitting back there. He's going, you need to knock it off and move on. So 58 in Joplin right now. We got 50s across the board, 57 Yates Center, 56 Fort Scott, 52 in Pittsburgh. We're still 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago, even though these temperatures are still manageable. But that's a sign of what's to come, because take a look at this high temperature of 89 degrees, mostly clear skies. Overnight low tonight of 60 degrees under mostly clear skies. So again, a pinch warmer. We're going to break down the full forecast, talk about some rain chances as well here in a couple of minutes.
And we'll see what other names Chris can call me in Klingon.
I just only know, well, the only one I know I can say safely is hotebok.
An animal.
And then, of course, there's kapla, which is success or good luck, basically. So when it comes to your news, kapla.
Kapra. Gracias. Okay. That's Spanish. That's not Klingon.
No,
okay.
It's not.
On Monday morning, a school bus overturned on a rural Missouri road in Clay County. It was carrying 30 students to an elementary school at the time. 2 of those children and the driver were taken to a hospital. Their injuries are believed to be minor. Authorities are investigating what caused the crash. No other vehicles appear to have been involved. 5 people are dead, including 3 teens in 2 separate crashes. Now, one crash happened just after midnight Monday morning on Highway 54, 5 miles west of Nevada. Authorities say a pickup driven by 19-year-old Tyler Green of Nevada failed to stop for a stop sign, turning onto the highway, and was hit by a semi. Green was taken to the hospital, where he later died. 2 of his passengers, 24-year-old Allison Bittiger of Nevada and 17-year-old from Bronaugh, Missouri, were also killed. Another 19-year-old passenger from Nevada was seriously injured. The other driver was not hurt. The Carl Junction School District announces in a Facebook post that a high school student was one of 2 people killed in a Saturday crash on Highway 43 south of Liberal, Missouri. 17-year-old Kyron Addington was in a car involved in a head-on collision. Investigators say the driver of the other car, driven by 30-year-old Shelby Stinnett, was also killed. And Stinnett's car crossed the center line. 2 other teens were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Hunting season is underway in Kansas, with bow season for deer starting on Monday. Local law enforcement trainer says hunting accidents are common everywhere because people become complacent when handling guns. He says to always have the safety on when you're not planning to shoot and keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. He encourages people to always remember things can go wrong when least expected.
That bullet is not recallable. So once that round is fired, it's fired. You can't go back in time and recall it. So it's up to you at that moment of time to know that you have followed those 4 safety rules and you are cleared to take that shot.
Dove hunting season is also underway in Kansas. The Creative Learning Alliance in Joplin can look forward to a new exhibit. On Monday, Liberty Utilities donated $20,000 to the Alliance to purchase their first manufactured exhibit for their STEAM Center. The STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics.
Get the kids off the electronics a little bit, get them in a space where they can get hands-on and learn a lot about lots of different things, especially the STEAM element, and lots of jobs at Liberty revolve around STEAM, so potentially maybe future employees one day.
The lab will include an illumination station and Flexibit.
Interesting. Quick check of that 7-day forecast. You can see where we warm into the 90s for the week ahead. We stay dry, we stay hot, overnight lows in the 60s, and on the extended forecast for 10 days, we start to warm up at the start of next week, pushing 95 by Wednesday, overnight lows in the 70s, and then we're watching good chances, and hopefully they hold true, of a storm system coming in late Wednesday into Thursday and Friday, bringing us some much needed rain.
That's for sure. Well, this morning we're discussing armed guards in school. More and more schools across America contemplate the implementation of armed security guards in the wake of the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. One school in Connecticut has already made this move 5 years ago, but at least one study shows armed guards are not an automatic deterrent.
In fact, it showed 1 in 4 school shootings. The school did have armed security on site. Now, since Columbine, 14 mass shootings have taken place in America's schools, taking the lives of almost 170 people. Parents, school officials, and communities then left wondering if arming America's schools is the answer. And that's our question to you. Do you think that schools should have armed guards? So far, 81% of you say yes, 19% of you say no. Make sure you vote through our website, the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
It's like an overwhelming number for sure. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, it's the spookiest time of the year. And Ashley Dvorkin takes us on a sneak peek of Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
And we'll have how a nurse heroically saves a baby on an airplane. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights is an annual tradition, which this year is even bigger with more fun, scares, and star power. Horror icons join opening night at Universal Studios Hollywood as the season gets started, and Ashley Dvorkin was there with them, even going in to bring us a preview of those monster-filled mazes.
The season is here for tricks, treats, frights, and Halloween Horror Nights. Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights is calling on all horror fans as they dial up the scares. Horror stars at the opening night red carpet party shared how they do partaking in the frightening fun.
I'm a tiny, tiny baby when it comes to this. I'm going to be screaming. The last time I came was last year when they had the Hill House maze, and it took me 3 days to recover.
I love the idea that they put together a story that scares you, and it's live. It's alive.
I've always been a fan of haunted houses, of horror experiences.
Turn your camera.
That's the fans.
That's what I like about all of this.
Horror icon Jamie Lee Curtis is also excited to share Halloween ends with those fans soon.
They love Laurie Strode, and I'm Laurie Strode. So what I get is this beautiful, reflective feeling of love and support.
So for an ode to Strode, I started my visit in Haddonfield for you. We did run into her co-star a few times. Here we go. Being very dedicated to bring you this preview, I led the way at Universal Monsters Legends Collide. You're welcome. I did it! The event has more haunted houses than ever before. Among the many experiences are the horrors of Blumhouse, the terror tram with inspiration from Jordan Peele's Us and Nope, and the musical twists and turns of the Weekend After Hours Nightmare. Cinematic scares, monster mazes, it all awaits at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, running through October 31st. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Halloween Horror Nights is now running select nights at both Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Orlando Resort. HalloweenHorrorNights.com has more information, including tickets to the event. We are warmer as we start this day. What does that mean for our temperatures for the rest of the week? We'll break it all down when we return. We got a pretty nice look at 7th and Rangeline as the sun slowly starts to come up. A nice shade of orange to the sky, and we have nice temperatures to start the day too. 58 degrees in Joplin right now, 57 Yates Center, 58 in Chinook, 53 in Parsons, and 55 down in Neosho. We're still, again, about 5 to 10 degrees warmer this morning than what we were yesterday, so even though these temperatures are still comfortable, because we're warmer, you know what that means? We're going to have a warmer day ahead of us. In fact, we've got a warmer week ahead of us. We're mostly clear today. We're looking for an afternoon high of about 89 degrees. And as we head into the evening, we're going to be mostly clear again. Overnight low of 60. So again, a pinch warmer than what we've seen. Future track in fast forward mode as we head into the weekend. You can see we stay hot and dry. So we start next week. We also stay hot and dry. 2 a.m. Monday. 75 degrees is what temperature is expected to be. And then Tuesday morning, look out to the northwest. We're looking at a storm system. It's going to roll in late Wednesday and into Thursday. And that brings us a good chance of showers and thunderstorms. So far, computer models, even though this is more than a week out, seem to agree that we're going to get some kind of rain next week. So hopefully they don't change their mind, because as we head into Friday, see a lot more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity, and it is rain that we absolutely need. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, you can see where we do warm up this week. 91 tomorrow. We hold on to right around 90 degrees for the next several days with overnight lows in the 60s. And then we start to warm up by the start of next week. 92 Monday, 93 next Tuesday, 95 next Wednesday, and then the storm system comes in and brings us those showers and thunderstorms. But before that, look, even the overnight lows getting in on the warming trend as they creep back up into the 70s. Now, here's Tanya Bach with today's consumer news.
That's right. A Twitter whistleblower is expected to testify Tuesday before Congress about allegations of security and privacy vulnerabilities at the company. On the eve of that testimony, lawmakers sent Twitter more than a dozen questions about its security practices. They want to know how the site secures personal data and guards against insider threats and foreign intelligence operatives. Senate Judiciary Committee members also want the social media giant to respond to allegations it intentionally misled regulators. Those questions came in a letter to Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal. They invited Agrawal to testify along the whistleblower Peter Mudge Zatko, Twitter's former head of security. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, a nurse on board a Spirit Airlines flight to Orlando helped save a baby who was struggling to breathe.
Ian Cassette was on board that flight and has more on the story.
This is my cell phone video of the aftermath. Obviously, I didn't want to record anything until I knew the 3-month-old little girl was going to be okay. The mother was pleading for help, and that's when the crew got over the loudspeaker and asked for any doctors or nurses to come and help. It felt like forever as we all sat silent, waiting for someone to speak up. After several seconds, an RN on board got out of her seat and rushed to help the baby in the front of the plane. We all just sat there and watched.
You know, your heart falls and you spring into action, and we started, massaging the baby's chest more aggressively, trying to get it to breathe, massaging its legs.
Nurse Tamara Panzino gave the baby oxygen, did chest compressions, massaged the infant's legs and chest, and suddenly the child came back. The passengers, including myself, didn't know the outcome until we saw the smile on everyone's faces. It was an amazing moment and one that I will never forget.
I'm not one to jump into drama or anything like that. I was really hoping someone else was going to be a doctor. But when you have to step forward and do what's right, you do. And it was just a happy story. It made me feel really good.
Really
Absolutely
glad that
incredible.
had a happy outcome for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
She knew what she needed to do.
And she sprang into action and took care of the situation. And that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
What's not going to be so awesome necessarily, unless you really like the heat, like that young lady we spoke to in Parsons last Thursday,
Oh, yeah.
who said that she prefers it to be 100 degrees outside. Well, she won't be displeased because we're getting hot this week. Right now at 7th and Range Line, it's looking pretty good. 58 degrees as we start the day in Joplin. We got 50s across the board, except for Jay. They've cooled off again, down to 47. 52 Veneta, 54 Welch, 52 Miami, and 58 up in Carthage. That still puts us about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than where we were yesterday at this same time, which means that our high temperatures are going to be warmer too. So let's take a look at today. Afternoon high of 89, mostly clear skies. 78 at noon, 85 by 5, 75 by 8. As we head through the night, we're looking at mostly clear skies. 68 at 11, 65 by 2, and an overnight low of 60 degrees. Now, on the future track, it's in hyperactive mode as we stretched it as far out as it will go. So this is heading into this weekend. We stay warm, we stay dry. We start next week hot and we stay dry. And this is 2:30 in the morning on Monday, 75 degrees. Talk about warm. And you saw some of those mid-90s popping up on there, which is a distinct possibility. Then we watch Wednesday night into Thursday as we get a storm system that wants to bring us a really good shot of showers and thunderstorms, and that lasts all the way into Friday, which is something we absolutely need. Now, right now, all of the computer models seem to be agreeing. They do show that this is a pretty good shot of these storms, so hopefully it holds on for us because we do need the rain. Because when you take a look at the 7-day forecast, you'll see what I'm talking about. 91 tomorrow, and that starts a streak of 90s. You get 88 Sunday, but otherwise we're looking at 90s for most of the week and into next week. Overnight lows in the 60s, and as we head into next week, temperatures begin to warm. And we hit 93 Tuesday, 95 by Wednesday, and that's when that storm system gets here and brings us those rain chances that we absolutely need. And take a look, even the overnight lows getting in on the action as they start to climb into the lower 70s. So we'll warm up before it starts to rain, but at least we do have some rain on the horizon. We're back right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Queen Elizabeth II leaves Scotland for the final time today. A Royal Air Force plane will take her coffin to England, where it will then be met by the royal family at Buckingham Palace. Through the night, thousands of Scots paid their final respects to the Queen at St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. Ukraine says it's reclaimed an area the size of Rhode Island since it began its offensive to push back the Russian invasion. Ukrainian officials say they have also captured a record number of troops and are running out of space to hold prisoners of war. Ukrainian forces are being hailed as heroes as new atrocities against civilian targets are unveiled in the reclaimed land. Multiple sources tell CBS News that more than 30 people associated with former President Trump have received federal grand jury subpoenas. Some as recently as last week. The subpoenas branch into 3 different areas. First, the efforts to submit fake electors to Congress ahead of January 6th. Second, how money was raised and spent in the effort to overturn the 2020 election. And finally, into Trump's Stop the Steal rally on January 6th.
Got a nice day ahead of us today as we head for an afternoon high of 89 under mostly clear skies. That's the sign of a warm-up that we have on the way. Overnight low tonight, 60 under, again, mostly clear skies. And a look at the 7-day shows where we hit 90s starting tomorrow. And overnight lows at least staying in the 60s, but we heat up and we stay dry. And on the 10-day, we're watching the possibility of some showers and storms by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. But before that, as you can see, we get hot, we get dry, and it just stays unpleasant. So hopefully that rain will be here and it'll help with the drought situation.
Well, astrophysicists have been waiting more than 5 years to see this picture. Check out this newly released image of the Orion Nebula. This image was taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. It can detect infrared light, letting scientists see through layers of dust which usually obscure deeper areas.
Scientists around the world say the information and images will now let them better understand how massive stars transform gas and dust cloud formations, or dust clouds that are during their formation.
That just looks like a piece of artwork right there.
It certainly does.
I would love to have that hanging on my wall.
It's absolutely beautiful. James Webb Telescope's really going to change what we know about the universe because it can see so much more.
That it is.
Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.